Welcome back to another last topic of this chapter, elastic collision. Elastic collision in two dimension. That is oblique collision at an angle. Oblique collision. In this case, an object of mass m1 is kept stationary with respect to some origin, some point. I have drawn two axes. Now, if another moving object, that is m2, is moving with velocity, you can take this as m2 is at rest. If it is moving with some velocity u1 and it strikes this stationary object m2, then in two-dimensional collision, both m1 and m2 may move. Say for example, m1 moves in this direction and m2 moves in this direction. So now if it is m2 is moving, now it has a velocity v2 along this direction and it has a velocity v1 along this direction. So it is making some angle theta 1 and this is making an angle theta 2. This kind of collision you might have seen in carom, in billiards, in snooker, in board games. So here what needs to be confirmed is that because this is elastic collision, it will follow two properties. That is, collision must have conservation of momentum and it also must have conservation of kinetic energy. So now because momentum is there, so momentum is a vector quantity. So I have to take, momentum means mass into velocity. I have to take the momentum of this particle has two components along x-axis and along y-axis. Why? Because momentum is a vector quantity. I will not take components of kinetic energy. But here on this side it is m1 v1 cos theta 1. This is horizontal component of this one. And along this m2 v2 cos theta 2. This is along x-axis. Similarly, m1 v1 will have this vertical component also, m1 v1 sin theta 1, and this is m2 v2 sin theta 2. So now I will follow conservation of, you have got the components. This one is horizontal component of m1 v1, this is horizontal component of m2 v2, this is vertical component of m2 v2, and this is horizontal vertical component of m1 v1. You can see that these two are exactly opposite, but they are not equal now. What will you do? Collision starts from this point. Why there is a need of components? Because momentum, I am considering momentum is a vector quantity, so I have to take the components. But in case of a scalar quantity, that is in kinetic energy, I will not consider that as vector quantity and I will not take component. Now collision starts from this point. So before collision, by conservation of momentum along x-axis, that is along horizontal. So along horizontal, what is the momentum before collision? Momentum before collision is m1 u1 plus m2 into 0, because this is at rest, is equals to, now I will take the horizontal component, m1 v1 cos theta 1 plus m2 v2 cos theta 2. This is conservation of momentum along x-axis. Now along y-axis, can you see any motion before collision along y-axis? Before collision, there is no momentum before collision along y-axis, because object is moving along horizontal, that is along x-axis. So before collision is 0. This is m1 v1 sin theta 1 minus, why minus? Because both are acting along same direction. Here I have taken plus because both are acting along same direction. Here both are acting along opposite direction, so I will take it as negative, which means that m1 v1 sin theta 1 is equals to m2 v2 sin theta 2. This is equation number 2. So by using these two equations and one more equation, what is the next property which this collision will follow? This collision will follow conservation of kinetic energy. So by conservation of kinetic energy, I will not take component here. Before collision, the kinetic energy is half m1 u1 square plus half m2 into 0 square. Why 0? Because this ball is at rest, this object is at rest, is equals to half m1 v1 square plus half m2 v2 square. Now half will be gone because half is common. So what is left with you? m1 u1 square plus m1 u1 square is equals to m1 v1 square plus m2 v2 square. So this is your third equation. So by using all the three equations, you can find out any given unknown quantity. Now there is a case. In this case, if theta 1 is 0 and theta 2 is 90, case 1. If theta 1 is 0 and theta 2 is 90, this is known as glancing collision. That is glancing collision, which means that this object will move along x-axis and this object will move perpendicular. So in this case, what will you get? From equation 2 and 1, from 1, if I put the value cos theta 1 is cos 0, so you are getting m1 v1 is equals to m1 v1 cos 0 plus m2 v2 cos 90. Cos 90 is 0. So you are left with m1 v1 is equals to m1 u1. So m1 and m1 cancel out, you will get u1 as v1. That is final velocity is equals to initial velocity of the object. This is for the first object. Now from equation number 2. From this equation, what you are going to get? m1 v1 sin 0 is equals to m2 v2 sin 0. Sin 90. Sin 90 is 1. Sin 90 is 1. So what is left with you? This is sin 90. So this becomes 0. You are left with v2 as 0. So in case of glancing collision, the velocity of the first object remains unaffected and so second object will remain as it is. So it is, you can remove this also, this is not needed here. So what is needed is the case, in this case the striking body, velocity of a striking body will remain unaffected. In glancing collision, velocity of striking body is unaffected. The kinetic energy has no relation with the angle, so it will remain as it is. one more thing, that is case 2. Case 2, if m1 is equals to m2 is equals to m, if the striking body and target body are at of same mass, then what will happen? So here you can see from equation 3, from 3 you can see that half mu1 square is equals to half mv1 square plus half mv2 square. Half m cancel out, you are left with u1 square is equals to v1 square plus v2 square. This is the case where mass of the bodies are same. Then you will get this expression. So this is all about work, power and energy. In the first video you might have got the question of Google form, so please fill that up and submit it as soon as possible. Now I will start numerical in the next class. Thank you.